we are back out here at the Keystone Mine Complex for episode 2. A lot colder this time than the last time we were here. If you take a look behind me, some mining activity still going on over there in the background. That's the backside of the old workings. And maybe if I move this way, you can see it a little bit better. But anyhow, they are doing a strip mine, trying to get into the backside of the old deep mines that were here at the turn of the century. And they think they can, by going back in there, get the water to drain the other direction instead of into the river basin below. And be able to treat it with their treatment facility a little bit better, which will aid in cleaning up the Castleman River. But, you know, once again, if you want to see kind of where I'm at, if you look out there behind me, that's the town of Myersdale, Pennsylvania, which is in southern Somerset County. To my rear back here, about where that communication tower is, the next ridge over is Mount Davis, which is the highest point in Pennsylvania, 3,213 feet. And if you look over here, this is the Savage Mountain Range and the Allegheny Summit. You can see the windmills in the background, which is part of a renewable energy project here in Somerset County. If you haven't seen episode 2, you need to check it out. So that down there, that bottom that you see, there was about 120 houses in that bottom at one time. There are, I think, one house still remaining, which would have been the original structure of probably the company store. A couple other smaller dwellings and homes behind it, a modular home that's more recent. You can almost make out the rail bed, and then that bottom where you see that kind of brushy area on the river bend, that was Stilesville, or also known as Keystone. So that's where we are, and that gives you a perspective if you watched episode 2 of Allegheny Adventures when we first came to this site about 3 weeks ago. So we're going to pick up here today and explore the area a little bit more and see if we can find some artifacts and maybe get into a little relic hunting as well. Okay, so if you saw the last episode, we showed some pictures of this. So what you're seeing down here is the old deep mine, and it is collapsed, and I want to say it's been washed out over time by water. I have maps on this area that were given to me by Dan Parisi, and I'm gonna bring those out probably tomorrow sometime. But with the weather moving in, I wanted to get in here quickly in case we were set back by weather. But pretty sure this is part of the big Atlantic Coal Company workings, which would have been more turn of the century, 1895 to 1910, somewhere in that era. And of course, you can see it runs all the way down through there. I'm gonna get a little closer, but that isn't really the workings that I would prefer to be in terms of time range. I'm more interested in the earlier workings from the 1870s for the purposes of finding relics. But nonetheless, the Big Atlantic being 1905, 1910, still fairly old. And in this cut, it goes down through here. You can see this more extensive washout now, but you can see the coal, and you can see how it tunnels down through there. There are some relics we found last time we were here We found a couple mine carts and wheels from a mine carts and stuff like that. So we'll explore this a little bit. This looks like possibly another, just the way this is cut back in, maybe another test dig or test pit or a smaller mine off to the side of it. But we'll look around, see if we can find some relics, and we'll let you know. All right, since the last time we were here, which was only like 3 weeks ago, Joel, who owns this property, actually got his bulldozer back in here, and he actually scraped the old railroad bed. He told me that he's doing some timbering, and you can see he's cutting some firewood down here next to this old wall. And we're gonna go down there. I don't know if y'all can see that wall. So there's some kind of structure there. Let me zoom in a little bit on that. So anyhow, there's the corner of it right there. But he may have scraped up some relics or some glass. Of course, the bulldozer probably crushed just about anything that was in there, but that's all right. At least he opened it up and made it a little bit more manageable to get back in here. I'm really interested in down there along the riverbank, because directly across from there is the old orchard. And if you look at the size of this tree is enormous. I mean, look at that thing. So you know that tree's 200 plus years old, I would say. And of course, there's some other good sized trees in here as well. A couple of people ask about the what's with the blue tubing. Well, those are people that obviously didn't grow up in Somerset County. That's tubing for sugar water. It's maple tapping season here in the Allegheny Mountains, and there's a rich history of maple production, maple syrup, maple products. So they're collecting sugar water with those lines and running them down to a tank. And that's another reason why Joel put in the road on the old rail bed there, so he can come back and get to his collection tank a little bit better. So we're gonna go out here where we were the other week, where we found some glass, and we're gonna explore a little bit. So I'll see you back. Okay, just a few scratches through the leaves here, and it looks like we're on a spot that might be pretty promising. I scratched up there a little bit last time. You can see there's some glass on this bank. There's a lot of coal ash too. That's always a good sign. Piece of crock, piece of pottery. So I'm gonna make this the first official dig site and see what I can turn up. It looks like this is the old railroad bed. If you take a look here, there's the river. Across the way was the town of Stilesville. Right there was where that locomotive or that shay wheel was laid up against the bank. I'm gonna get a better picture of that, because that's pretty impressive. That may have even been off the Dink Railroad. And then up above here is a bench, which I think was where the coal cars and the narrow gauge to the coal mine ran. So, you know, it could be you brought your trash to work and you threw it in the coal cars on the way over when they were empty, and threw it off the hillside, and then filled it up with coal and loaded trains all day. It would make sense if that was the town, and that's the orchard over there, and there used to be a bridge that went across somewhere right in this area, and this was the incline plane in Tipple that, you know, you would have brought your trash over here and maybe dumped it somewhere on the slag piles off the side of the mine. And this is also a railroad bed, so there's a chance it could have been a railroad dump here as well. So we're gonna definitely check this area out, scope it out real well. Check this out. Look how ornamental something as utilitarian as some type of valve to, I'm guessing, to a stove was back then. Pretty cool. I wanted to show you guys this. I showed it in the last video, but I wanted to show it again. Of course, there's water coming out, but pretty awesome. Look at the structure of it and the way it's built. And then, of course, up in behind there, you can see there's a lot of collapse. There's a structure over here, and there's a pillar down there. We're not sure what it is, but I want to walk over here and show you this locomotive wheel. I mean, if my research is on point, I want to say that this is likely a Shay wheel. It could even be from the Dink. You know, the Dink Railroad was a narrow gauge, so it wouldn't have been a big locomotive. But, and then you can see there's some structures here. There's a pillar here. But it's pretty awesome. I want to see if I have enough film left to capture this. I gotta remember where it is. Shoot, is it up on top? I think it might be up on top. Give me a minute, I'll come back to you. All right, found it. So there's the edge of the tipple, and there's was the coal was loaded onto the trains. And here is this giant wheel. Now, just to give you kind of a perspective, that's my foot on the hub. You can see how big it is. My brother-in-law Dan wanted to get this thing out of here. I said, do you have any idea what that thing probably weighs? I know the small ones that used to go in the mine carts, we used them as weights, wheel weights on my dad's tractor. And they're 80 pounds a piece, just the small ones. So like this one, I mean, talking hundreds of pounds. Now, it definitely, if you look at the edge of it, it resembles a railroad, but I'm thinking now that I see that deep V groove, I guess you all can see that V groove. This probably was part of the incline plane. It probably was a belt pulley for a belt of some kind, or even a steel cable, because that V groove is so deep. There's a better picture of it. See what I'm talking about right there, the V groove. Get my finger out of the way. But yeah, so either a pulley or a belt or something like that would have gone on there. I do not think now that it's Shay or locomotive wheel, but pretty cool. If I can get my fat hands out of the video. But yeah, he wanted to dig it out. I was like, man, there's no way I can't even, well, hang on a second now. I ain't as good as I once was, but I might be as good once as I ever was. I might try to lift this. Hang on a second. All right, I'm gonna brag on myself a little bit. I'm 53 years of age, but for the greater part of my teens, 20s, and 30s, I was into powerlifting. Anyhow, Dan, I got it out of there. But if you want this thing, we gotta build a raft and float it down the river, because I ain't taking it up that hill. So here it is, exposed. I think it's really awesome. Yeah, so there's the opening to one of the mines. This is at the top of where the incline plane would have been. I gotta tell you, whew, I walked up in here, and you see that right there where that water's coming out? It wasn't doing that 5 minutes ago. I was walking in leaves just like this, and I sunk down in there about up to my, well, you can see, about up to my thigh. And I didn't think I was gonna get out. It was like quicksand. So anytime you're exploring old mines and old mine properties, probably a good idea to have somebody with you, and also probably a good idea to stay on ground that you know is terra firma. And it is marked. The reason why this is marked is because they have to get back here and test the water. And while I'm on that topic about land and things like that, I do have permission to be on this property. I want to make that clear. And I know a lot of you from this area are going to know basically where I'm at based on the landscape, based on some of the landmarks. But don't come up here unless you've got permission. You know, it ruins it for the rest of us. There's a pipe. That would have been good to know, that I knew that there was water, substantial water in underneath there. Like, I just caused all that right there by stepping in that. But yeah, make sure you have permission from the landowner. You know, I know some of you are relic hunters and you're gonna wanna come up here, and some of you are deer hunters, and when you see a buck rub like that, you're gonna wanna, you know, see a rub line going out through the woods, you're gonna wanna hunt here. Make sure you have permission. Don't ruin it for the rest of us. But I do have permission to be on this property. I also have maps of this property, so I know where the dangers are. Although I didn't bring them today. Probably would have been a good idea. Now, over in here somewhere on this flat area, there were some foundation structures. So that's probably gonna be what we explore tomorrow, is more of the foundation structures that would have been probably shacks, workman's shacks, blacksmith shacks, things like that. But anyhow, just thought I'd bring you up to the top where the opening is. It's pretty cool. Right in through there. Of course, they dynamited it shut to keep people out. Okay. All right, you can see I'm just scratching the surface. It's, you know, it's rooty, and I'm not really down that far. But I just unearthed some kind of buckle. It looks military. It's got an eagle on it. I don't know how old it is, but it's slightly curved, and it's pretty cool. All right, it's 5:30 and I'm whooped. I'm not gonna lie, I'm out of shape. This is the old railroad bed. You can see it going out through there. And you get out here about another 50 yards, there's an old homestead. I'm gonna go check that out before I call it a day. The last place I was at, I did manage to pull a few bottles and a few artifacts, nothing to write home about. I'm pretty sure that was the Big Atlantic workings, which Big Atlantic was around 1906 to 1915. Not an era of artifacts that I like to dig for. You know, it's pretty much run-of-the-mill stuff, some shoe fly flasks and stove polish and ink wells and stuff like that. I'm really more interested in this older mine, which was 1870s, 1880s. Last time we were out at this old homestead, we found a foundation stone that had a 61 on it. I think it was a 61. We're not sure if it was 81 or 61, but it's definitely some kind of marker stone. Anyhow, my brother-in-law took that. But I'm just gonna walk out and take a look at it. We found some crocs and stuff like that out there. But yeah, definitely, the Big Atlantic coal and the Big Atlantic workings are not the era that I want to dig. So I'm really anxious to try to find this, like I said, this earlier mine. So we might be back out tomorrow and head the opposite way on the railroad tracks. And there's a lot of tram roads and stuff like that. We might find an older workings and might find a spill or a dump somewhere that we can dig. So if the weather isn't too hateful, we'll be back out tomorrow. Wow. All right, guys. I'm walking and my phone is just blowing up right now. That buckle that I apparently dug back there in what I thought was just, you know, the Big Atlantic 1910, 1915 era of mining, was an American Federal ACW, American Civil War, but it's some kind of federal something eagle, Federal Eagle belt buckle. But everyone's blowing my phone up and saying, dude, all the Civil War guys I know are like, dude, keep digging. And I just left that area. All right, well, I know where it is. I'll go back. But that's pretty awesome. That's like a surface find too. It's not like I dug real deep for anything. And I didn't have a metal detector. So it's hard saying what you find with get a metal detector out here. But wow, pretty cool stuff. All right, I'm gonna flip you around. We're gonna keep walking down here about another 25 yards. And what you'll see here is an old homestead. And I did talk to the guy about the well. He warned me about the well. He said they filled it in with rock because it is pretty deep. And if you remember in episode 2, I was standing inside of that. Now I was braced against the walls pretty good, but yeah, I probably shouldn't have. I should have been harnessed off. My brother's a safety engineer and he already gave me hell about it. So anyhow, I'm gonna keep walking, and that's gonna be it for today. I think I'm just gonna show you this ravine with a lot of what I think is privy dip in it. A lot of crocs and a lot of stoneware and stuff like that in it. All right, so I gotta tighten this thing up. Hang on a second. Turning it around caused some issues. Sorry if you guys got dizzy. That's why we have edit, right? Edit that out. But anyhow, so I call this Pottery Hollow. So you can see there's a ravine. I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna go on the opposite side of what used to be the railroad tracks. And there's a little ravine that runs up through here. And what caught my eye the other week when I was here is, aside from the sugar camp and the smell of boiling tap water, is stuff like this. And I mean, it is just littered up through here with some glass and more glass down there. More pottery. And if we just walk up this ravine, look here, more pottery, and I'm talking large pieces of pottery. That's got to be a 5-gallon right there. That's definitely 3 or 5 gallon. But this whole ravine is just nothing but glass and pottery. And there's some glass right there. What is that? Okay, little med. All right, and not that old. Mold line goes to the top, but there's more pottery. Look here. And as I kick these rocks away, look at this. All right, move this rock and look what's underneath it. More pottery. And that's some, that's some older glazing there. That's some good stuff. And you can see right here, there's pottery in underneath these rocks. So this ravine was definitely, and there's some aqua glass, more pottery. There's the ravine, and there's some amber glass. What's that? Oh yeah, that's blown. Got bubbles through it. This ravine, likely some kind of a dump. There is a road at the top of it. And I say a road, it's an old fence line. And the road is definitely old. But like I said, just look at the pottery. Look, even down in there. And this has been washed for years. And there's pottery, more pottery. There's some spongeware. It gives you an idea of the age. Nothing salt glazed. They're super old yet, but definitely worth scratching around in. More pottery. And you see why I call it Pottery Hollow. Oh wait, what do we got here? Probably mason jar. Yeah, that's what it is. Look at that, just sitting there. Probably my brother-in-law did that. Oh, what was that? Hang on. I just stepped on some glass. Paneled med. That's older. Let's see. Oh yeah. The rest of the paneled med. So I'm gonna just stay live action here because surface find would be cool right now. Up there, more pottery. Definitely old pottery. Cork top. Mason jar. once again, this is gonna be surface scratching today because I wanna find the source. You know, when you get a washout like this gully, all of this is coming from somewhere. And all of this, with all this rock, it's gonna be broken. Look at that handle. But yeah, this is all washout. Look here, look at that. That might even be marked. Damn. But yeah, so who knows? There's got to be a source to this, and it takes you right up to that foundation. Actually, it's right over there. There's a foundation. All right, so who knows? I don't. And I've been doing this a while, and sometimes things just don't make sense. Now you get a better idea for this ravine. So nothing here, nothing here, and then all of a sudden here it's just, I mean, just dump. Look over here at this tree. Okay, so my thought is this is an old road. Obviously it runs out through here, and it's a bench and runs out through there. So it might have just been a spot that they just threw stuff off. But then you look at the bank here, nothing, no glass, no nothing. So anyhow, that is that. I want to go back down, get my stuff, make my way back up to the top of the mountain, which is about a mile walk at this point. Okay guys, surface fine. I know what it is. Gordon's Dry Gin, but I'm just walking this old tram road, making my way back up this hill, out of breath. And look there on the surface, and it is one of the older ones. And that drippy, sloppy apply right there. And it's whole, man. It's just a surface find. Like, how does this shit survive? All right, I'm 25 yards from my car. And I mean, the climb up out of this bottom is just brutal. It's straight up. It's straight up, guys. Anyhow, and it's hard on a guy my age. But there you go. That's the money shot. It's my hometown. Samuel P. Miller Farm on the bottom left corner of your screen. You follow that dirt road all the way out past that, and until you come to those red lights right about there. You see that car coming down the road? My house is about a half mile from there. But the view is spectacular. So, will there be another day to episode 3? I gotta see how I feel in the morning, and I also gotta see what the weather's gonna do. It started to snow or sleet a little bit on my walk up out of here. We're supposed to get some heavy rain tonight into tomorrow morning. So it may have to be an episode 4 with metal detectors, and maybe with my partner Dan another day. All right, so it is Saturday, and it stopped raining and it's warmed up a little bit. So I think we're gonna go back out again this afternoon and explore the Keystone Mine site again. In episodes 2, part 1 and part 2, I've talked about the Dink Railroad and the P&M trolley, and some people might wonder, well, what's your fascination with all of this? Well, if you look behind me here, this is the house I grew up in, and if you look behind me, you see this road that's going out along here, and if I turn the opposite way, and you see that road continues out that direction, that is the old P&M trolley line That is also the rail bed for the old Dink Railroad. It ran right by my house. I mean, years ago, when they resurfaced this road, there was actually narrow gauge tracks under the road still. And of course that, as a youngster, piqued my curiosity. If you look, I'm gonna try to get it. If I hold this up, and you can look down between those houses and across the river, that is the village of Romania. And if you look this direction, that ridge line that you see way out there in the distance, that is where we were yesterday. That's the Keystone Mine. And if you look this direction behind me, you'll see a building, a rather large building. That's the old S.J. Miller School, which was on the map in the early 1900 map that I have. You can see it clearly marked there, S.J. Miller School. Now, I think there was a one-room schoolhouse there at one time, probably a log structure, prior to that more modern building, but nonetheless, it's still named S.J. Miller School. And if I walk down here a little bit to the driveway, and you can look back this road, that's P&M trolley line, and like I said, all the way back there in that ridge is where the Keystone Mine was. And you could actually still walk this road. It's a private property. It's my neighbor's property, but you can walk back that road all the way back to the S.P. Miller Farm and the village of Stilesville. And so there's the perspective for you. And if you reference episode 2 and episode 3 of Allegheny Adventures, you'll see that I kind of mapped that all out. All right, here we are. Day 3 of being out here. We're back out at this foundation area that we noticed in the woods, and you can kind of see, you got stacked stone here, a depression, stacked stone over here. And if you guys remember, by the way, take a look. If you guys remember, here's the well. Pretty interesting, and it's got water in it. I'm gonna try to look into that a little bit today. Maybe see about clearing some of that out, what's beneath it, who knows. We brought a metal detector, so we're gonna metal detect. And last evening, if you remember, I pulled that case gin bottle right down there on that bench on that old road. So, gonna see what we can find, and we'll be back at you. All right. Got something down here. I'm in the ravine next to the foundation, and there's this, and I think it might be whole. And there's actually some, look at this, okay, right beside it. Meyersdale Brewery, that's a 32 ouncer. Boy, that's a nice one. Look how thick the glass is too. That would have been a nice find. But this looks to me like I might be able to pull something whole. It's probably just like a little cream container or something. What does it say on it? Some kind of fancy insignia. Y'all can see that. I'll have to get it cleaned off a little bit better. But hey, at least it's something whole, and it's milk glass. It's got a strange top to it. But hey, first whole find. And I think I'm gonna work this ravine. I think that might be where it's at. All right, so literally not 2 minutes later, I'm working in under this root, and it looks like we got a bottle in the hole. Porter's Pain King, and it's complete. Well, we've got stuff coming out, boot leather and some slate shingles, but I want to show you this piece of, here's part of a chamber pot. And here's this ravine again. This is Croc Ravine. I'm just gonna keep working it. I just lifted up this giant rock, and underneath it was this real pretty glass right here. It's like a carnival glass. Just spectacular looking. So there's stuff definitely dumped in here. Whether I'll find anything whole, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep working my way down until I get to the railroad tracks. But who knows?
I don't know.
Now, there's stuff coming out of the ground. It's interesting though that, and then here's this well, and it's somewhere at some point in that well, they dug down and have a pipe running off of it. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I mean, that pipe's running all the way down there. Now, I know down through the woods there, I did come across some steel cable and some pipe, and it's the same diameter as this pipe. So I don't know if they were running water from this well down to the mine to get it closer to the miners. I don't know. But, and there's some old narrow gauge. But it must be a pretty substantial well. You dug some of it out?
No.
Or is that how it was?
That's how it was, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's going down further than what it was the other week when we were here. I don't know if it's sinking or... I know, it looks deeper than what it, when I was in there the first time.
You were pretty, I mean, you were like up to your...
Yeah, I was up to my
shoulders.
neck.
Yeah.
All right, well, more mysteries to be solved. Well, another interesting structure in the woods here. Now, this may be the well that the guy warned me not to fall into. It has water in it. But once again, it's cut stone, and it goes down there. Guys, it goes down there. And it's got water in it. And it's got this structure built around it. Now, just so you see, he's done some logging in here recently. And he's had his bulldozer in there, but that's the old rail bed over there. And then this looks like another foundation. I'm seeing some cut stone and some stone around here. Some cornerstones and stuff. And a big sunken area. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe it was a pond. I don't know. With the railroad, I would think they would need to, back in the day they used steam. So could it be a cooling station where they got water for the boiler? And they pulled it out of this well? I'm not sure. But with the riverbank so close, I'm tempted to see if there's any relics along the riverbank. But another interesting feature nonetheless.